Hello, welcome to your English class. I'm teacher Elisa and I'm the principal here at the ILS. And today I'm going to be working with you and I'm going to be teaching you our Unit 1 from the B1 plus level here at the ILS. So welcome to this English class. I hope you enjoy it as much as I will. So let's dive in, all right? Okay, so we're going to start this unit from the book Top Notch 3, okay? This is the Pearson series. So let's dive in. We have the unit 1, and this is a unit that I like it a lot, actually, because it talks about culture, it talks about different etiquette, manners, do's and don'ts in every country. So I think it's very interesting. So the name of the unit is Make Small Talk. So you know that to make small talk to someone, it means to try to make conversation nice and gentle conversation, okay? So we're going to start looking at this document that we have here on the left. I believe it's some kind of email, where you can see the explanation for an event, okay? So let's start with this document. It says from Rowan Paper International to all affiliates. So yeah, I believe it's for a meeting, right? For a business meeting or something like this. So look, the annual meeting in Bangkok, Thailand. So meeting etiquette, here we have this title, which means that they're going to explain how is this going to be, what are they going to do, okay? So it says, since we all come together from different traditions and cultures, here are some guidelines to make this meeting run smoothly. So guidelines, I'm going to try to translate here a bit. Nos está diciendo aquí tienes algunos, por decir, tips para que podamos hacer que esta reunión se desarrolle, se dé de una forma tranquila. So you can see the verb run, and obviously we know that run means in Spanish, correr. But in this scenario, to make this meeting run smoothly, it means that you want everything to be okay, calm, and in harmony, okay? So we can use it when we talk about an event. Please arrive promptly for meetings, which means promptly, it means to be on time. Dress is business casual, okay? So business casual means no too informal, no too formal. No ties or jackets required, but you need to be business style, but not too formal. However, no denim or shorts, please. Women should feel free to wear slacks. Please refrain from making or taking calls. So refrain is like when in Spanish you say abstenerse de hacer o recibir llamadas. Or texting during meetings, ¿no? O enviar mensajes de texto en las reuniones. Put all phones on vibrate mode. On vibrate mode. Because mood, well, cell phones don't have a mood, right? If you have an urgent call, please step outside in the corridor. Entonces, obviamente, como en cualquier reunión de negocios que es formal, si tienes alguna llamada urgente, por favor, tómala en el pasillo. Note, please treat everyone on a first name basis. Tratar a todos, pues, de una forma, vamos a ver, no tan formal, pero tampoco informal. I think this is kind of formal, but not too much. Entonces, for first name basis en primer nombre, no una base del primer nombre. Voy a decir base, pero se refiere como a todos en general. Háblalos o llámales por su primer nombre. FYI, food is international style. All meals will provide non-meat options. If you have a special dietary requirement, please speak with Miss Harnthep at the front desk. O sea, que hables con esta persona en la recepción. So let's just remember this, okay? It says to run. I'm going to circle this because it's important that we know that we can use run para correr, but also to speak about an event that is happening. For example, the wedding is running quite nicely and smoothly. Obviamente la boda no está corriendo, sino que está dándose, está pasando de una manera tranquila, con calma. Arrive promptly. So here you have more vocabulary for you. Significa llegar temprano, en vez de decir siempre early, promptly. Dress business is casual, no ties or jackets required. However, no denim or shorts, please. Women should feel free to wear slacks. Cuidado con la pronunciación de esta palabra porque no es woman, ¿de acuerdo? Es como si fuera una I en ambos. Women, women. Kind of an I, kind of. Please refrain from making or taking calls. Entonces, refrain es abstenerse, ¿sí? En vez de decir, please go into the corridor, please step outside, ¿no? Es una forma más amable, más elegante de decir que vayas afuera al pasillo. What else? All meals will be provided, non-meat options, es decir, que te van a dar opciones que son vegetarianas, ¿ok? Very good. See attached meeting agenda for advanced planning. Entonces, attached es como nos dicen en los correos, adjunto. Este es como el aviso general para la conferencia que se va a llevar a cabo en Thailand. And to the right, we have the Raw and Paper International Agenda. Aquí está como muchísimo más descrito. So at 8:30, we have breakfast buffet in the Salon Bangkok. At 9:15, welcome and opening remarks. Philip Martin, President and CEO in the ballroom. 9:45, fourth quarter results and discussion. Angela de Groot, CFO, ballroom. 10:30, we have the coffee break. At 11, we have international outlook and integrated marketing plans with Sergio Montenegro in the ballroom as well. At noon, they have the lunch on in the gallery. And at 2, regional marketing plans with US and Canada group, Mexico and Central America group, Caribbean group, South America, Southern Cone and Andes group, Brazil. Recuerda, muy importante pronunciar la Z como Z, Brazil. ¿Sí? Te dan toda la explicación de toda la agenda, ¿ok? Entonces, aquí hay algo muy importante. Dice, read and summarize the etiquette guidelines for an international business meeting. Write first statements beginning with don't. Nosotros sabemos en la gramática del inglés, we already know that the word do means hacer and the word don't es más bien para decir o para negar en presente simple a algunas personas, like I do homework, I don't do homework, right? So do and don't. But sometimes we use like do's and don'ts to talk about las cosas que puedes y no puedes hacer. No tanto puedes, sino que tal vez las cosas que son como aceptables o las cosas que no son aceptables en algún lugar o en algún país, ¿sí? Por ejemplo, déjame mostrarte. I'm going to show you something that, for example, let's have a look here. This is about the US. This is something that I just found out, not find out, sorry. US travel do's and don'ts. Cuando tú ves este do's and don'ts, it's not about, we're not talking about so much specific activity. It's like more general, the things that you should or shouldn't do in some place. For example, in the US, it's important to tip, to be on time, really, really important. To visit national parks and obey traffic signs. What about the don'ts? Things that you shouldn't do. Overload your itinerary, smoke inside, use slang, use the metric system. Entonces, this is something you actually can use in or with any country, okay? Let's check Mexico. I don't know if this is true. It's just, I wanted to show you examples. Look. So for greeting, they say bueno and goodbye, adios, when they're talking on the phone. So do's and don'ts in Mexico, it says Do be persistent. It's normal to try call multiple times before giving up. If you give up too easily, it might seem like you were interesting to begin with. I think this is true. And don't try to establish a business deal over the phone. Most Mexicans prefer to enter new ventures with a meeting. I believe that's also true. So in general, you're gonna use do's and don'ts for countries, or maybe for a meeting, a specific meeting. Here you have another example. The things that you are encouraged to do and not do, okay? It's not like obligatory, but it's like, it's not mandatory. I think it's more like some kind of advice of things that you should avoid, okay? Very good. So let's continue. We have here a conversation, okay, and we're going to read it. I want you to know that this book, it has a lot of conversations with people that are not always American or British or in general English speakers. Some of them are foreigners. The audios are created like this on purpose because in real life, you're going to listen a lot of accents, right? From native and non-native speakers. So for example, we know here that Teresa or Teresa is a Spanish speaker and Sura or Surat, it's a Thai speaker. So none of them is English speaker. It's an English speaker. So, but still we're gonna do it. It says, allow me to introduce myself. I am Teresa Segovia from the Santiago office. Sawadee ka. Where did you learn the why? You're Chilean, aren't you? Yes, I am, but I have a friend in Chile from Thailand. Well, Sawadee krap. Nice to meet you, Miss Segovia. I'm Sorat Likpal. No need to be so formal. Please call me Terry. Terry, and please call me Surat. Okay, Surat, do you mind my asking you a question about that though? Not at all. Is it customary in Thailand for people to be on a first name basis? Well, at company meetings in English, always. In other situations, though, people tend to be a little more formal. It's probably best to watch what others do, you know, when they say, when in Rome, do as Romans do. So here I'm going to circle, is it customary? So you're going to use the word customary like to refer to something that if it's a habit, if it's a custom, if it's something that people do. For example, is it customary that Mexicans are always eating with chili? This is something that my students here in France always ask me. They ask me, teacher, is it customary in Mexico to always wear a hat, to always be in sandals or, you know, wearing sandals? So is it customary? It means if it's something that it's quite usual. And the expression, when in Rome, I think we use the same expression in Spanish. So it means that, you know, do as the Romans do is the finish, is the ending of the quote. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Like follow what other people do. And actually, his advice is quite good. It's probably best to watch what others people do. And I think that's correct. I can share with you that now I'm living in a very different culture from mine, which is French culture. And there are so many things that actually do change. They don't do a lot of things that we do that for me are normal. But I think that when you observe the culture, you can easily figure out what's customary and what it isn't. Okay, so we have here some expressions that I would like to check with you. It says speaking, personalization, if you took a business or pleasure trip to another country, how would you like to be addressed? Complete the chart, then discuss and explain your reasons to a partner. How would you like to be addressed? Honestly, when I'm on a trip, pleasure, because I don't travel for business. In my case, it would be for pleasure. I would like to be called just by my name, Elisa. Sometimes people call me Miss Elisa, Mrs., but I think it's okay, just my first name basis. Some people prefer last name basis, but for me, it's okay, my first name. So in your case, how would you like to be addressed? Miss, Mrs., first name basis, second name, middle name, last name. So I like to be called by my title and my family name. So remember that title, it means that you actually like when people tells you Mrs., Miss, Mr., right? And my family name, which is your last name, well, in my case, honestly, in some situations, in some other situations, I just rather my name. By my first name, yeah. Also, in some situations, I think other situations require more formality. By my nickname, wow, nickname is what we say, el apodo. El apodo, well, if I'm in a business or in a pleasure trip, I don't think I would like to be called by my nickname unless it's my family or very close friends. I prefer to follow the local customs. Well, yeah, basically, yes. If the country is used to call you by your title, by your first name, by your nickname, I really don't care as long as it's with respect. So, what do you think? In your case, how would you like to be addressed? Here is important to remember the titles, Mr., Mrs., Miss, what first name means, nickname, middle name, last name, family name, which is the last name. Okay, so it says, in your opinion, is it inappropriate for two people of very different status, such as a CEO and an assistant, to be on a first name basis? Well, in this first question, I can tell you that I will always prefer formality when it comes to working in a company. For example, with the team at the ILC at school, they always call me Teacher Elisa, even if it's the assistant or if it's someone from accounting or if it's another teacher. Sometimes with some teachers that I've been working with at school for a long time, maybe for 4 or 5 years now, they just call me Elisa, and for me it's fine because I've known them for so long. But I think at the end, you can feel the tone of respect. With the rest of the employees that are in the administrative tasks, I prefer to be called Teacher Elisa. Okay. And also it's important that you as CEO refer to them with respect. Like in Spanish, you say Licenciada Morales, Licenciada Vera, etc. So what do you think about this? Let's see. Continue with the make small talk. If you see the conversation with her here, it's called make small talk because they're not talking about deep subjects or they're not getting into a debate or discussions. It's just small talk to be nice, to be kind and welcoming. Here we have another model. So it says, good morning, beautiful day, isn't it? It really is. By the way, I'm Kazuko Toshinaga. I'm Jane Quick. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Do you mind if I call you Kazuko? Absolutely not. Please do. And please call me Jane. So when you want to ask how you should address to someone, you can use the phrases you can see here, okay? It says, do you mind if I call you Elisa? Do you mind if I call you Lichi, which is my nickname? Would it be rude to call you? ¿Sería grosero llamarte Kazuko, Elisa, Lichi? What would you like to be called? How do you prefer to be addressed? How do you prefer to be called? Do you use Miss or Mrs.? So you can ask these questions anywhere, right? Because they are very polite and they will help you to know what the other person thinks. And I think this is very important because, for example, here in France, when I started working in a junior high, I was a new teacher and some of my colleagues are younger, some of my colleagues are older. So I really didn't know if I should call them by Mr., Mrs. So I start doing it like at the beginning I was like super formal, but then eventually some of them told me, oh, please just call me Jane or just call me Mary, You kind of have to ask or wait for the other person to give you the permission to call them in a first name basis, I would recommend that when you are in another culture, okay? So what are we going to learn here? We're going to talk about the tag questions. So tag questions, basically, you are going to use them to confirm information. And you're going to use them in present, past, future, future continuous, present continuous, any grammar subject, any tense, we're going to use it. So in Spanish, we don't have tag questions like this. I will give you an example. To confirm information in Spanish is more like, ¿fuiste al mercado, no? No, no fui, o sí, sí fui. Cocinaste las verduras ayer, ¿verdad? So maybe we use verdad, maybe we use sí or no, or maybe irás mañana al doctor, ¿no es así? So we have several different quotes, but if you see verdad, no es así, es correcto, sí o no, we have different words to confirm information at the end of a question. For example, ¿estás haciendo tu tarea? ¿Es correcto? O estás resolviendo un examen, ¿no? So they don't do this. They, when I'm saying they, I mean English speakers, to confirm information, often they use the tag questions. So basically, what is a tag question? The first rule I would like you to know is that if you say a sentence in affirmative, the next sentence or the tag question will be in negative. If you say a sentence in negative, like here on the right, the tag question is going to be affirmative. That's the first rule. So let's try to talk deeply about this. Here they are using the verb to be, you'rly. And to reply, they are using the negative form, aren't you? But if you see, it's always verb to be, it's always the subject, you. Let's check another one. She speaks Thai. It's a she and it's simple present. So the tag question is going to be simple present and it's going to be with she, but negative. She speaks Thai, doesn't she? Remember, negative form of the simple present in the third person, doesn't. Let's check the next. He's going to drive is the going to, is the verb to be, the auxiliary. He's going to drive, isn't he? They'll be here later. Here we have the future with they. They'll be here later. So it has to be in the negative future. Won't they? There are a lot of rules. There are. So you have to use the negative. Aren't there? Now we have the singular form. There isn't any sugar. And if you see, it's in negative. So the tag question is going to be an affirmative. Is there? You were there. Tú estabas ahí. You were there. Weren't you? Okay. They left. This is the past simple. What is the negative form for the past simple? You're going to use didn't. Didn't they? It's been a great day. This is the present perfect, has been. It's been a great day. So you have to use the opposite, the negative. Hasn't it? And will like keto. Would. So you have to use would, but in the negative. Wouldn't she? They can hear me. So here the auxiliary is can. We have to use it, but in the negative form. Can't they? So if you see, all the time, we are following the same tense that is given in the phrase and the same subject. If it's a she, you ask with a she. If it's in past, you ask with the past. The important is to not forget that it's going to be the opposite. Okay, negative, then the tag question is affirmative. Affirmative statement, then the tag question is negative. And you have some more examples here, so let's just read them very quickly, okay? You're not Amy, are you? I don't know you, do I? We're not going to eat here, are we? It won't be long, will it? He wasn't driving, was he? We didn't know, did we? She hasn't been here long, has she? You wouldn't do that, would you? He can't speak Japanese, can he? So we're gonna be using this, and as you can see, it's very simple, but at the same time, it's going to help you to remember a lot of past tense, future tense, etc. Okay? So let's try to do this together. For example, I'm gonna show you how I try to do it easier, make it easier for me. It says, Rob is your manager. So I know that is the auxiliary and it's about him. So isn't he? Then we have, I turned off the projector, I turned off the projector. It's in the past simple. So what is the auxiliary for the past simple? Didn't I? It's like, apague el proyector, ¿verdad? Apague el proyector, no es así. So you're confirming information. Sorry. Tom is going to present next. Isn't he? So if you see, I'm not repeating the name of the person. She won't be at the meeting before 2. This is the future and it's a negative, so we have to put it the opposite. Will she? We haven't forgotten anything. Have we? Because it's a negative, the tag question has to be affirmative. No hemos olvidado nada, ¿no es así? No hemos olvidado nada, ¿verdad? It was a great day, wasn't it? The agenda can't be printed in the business center before 8 a.m. Can it? Porque estoy hablando de una cosa, it. If you see, I'm not repeating the name or the subject. I'm not saying can the agenda, you have to use the subject pronouns. They were explaining the meeting etiquette. In this case, it doesn't change, it's they. So we're going to use the opposite. Weren't they? She wants to be addressed by her first name. Is present or simple present, doesn't she? Is the verb want, and it's affirmative. She wants to be addressed by her first name, doesn't she? There was no one here from China, wasn't there? So as you can see, it's always the opposite in the sense of affirmative, negative, and you have to follow the pattern of the tense given. Present, present, verb to be, verb to be. You have to be careful checking the auxiliaries of each sentence. And look, this is something that you're going to use in the real life. For example, I always tell my husband by the end of the day around 10 p.m. For example, I say, you closed the garage, didn't you? Okay, or you can say, you did the laundry, didn't you? You didn't take out the trash can, did you? I use it a lot in the past tense, but you can also ask something very simple like, you like strawberries, don't you? It's a simple present. You don't drink a lot of water, do you? So it's just to confirm, okay? It's just to confirm information. And yes, it's important to follow these grammar rules because you're going to sound correct. The intonation, the book says this, and I think this is real, I really think that this is something that happens in real life. They do try to make this intonation like this, for example. People use first names here, don't they? It really happens. It's just natural for native speakers. The meeting was great, wasn't it? It's a beautiful day for a walk, isn't it? People use first name here, don't they? So it changes. If you sound too, like the same, it doesn't sound natural. You had to try to make this intonation. That meeting was great, wasn't it? It's a beautiful day for a walk, isn't it? So it is important to do it, okay? So this is what we were saying about small talk. This is the first lesson of Unit 1. So remember that this is going to help you also to remember a lot of tenses that you have seen in the past. So we're we're going to practice this a little bit more, okay? So we have here some sentences. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make this the clearest possible. It says, he didn't know about that costume. Él no sabía de esa costumbre. So we already know that here we have it's in past and it's about him, he, and it's in the negative form. So we have to write it in the affirmative. Did he? Sorry, I'm gonna change the color. Did he? Okay, it's the opposite. It's a great day to go to the beach, isn't it? You learned Japanese in school. It's in the past, learned. So didn't you? It's in the negative. You have to change it. Mike will be here later. So it's the future, but in negative. Won't he? I'm using the same subject. It's a he. You're not from Turkey. Verb to be. You're not from Turkey. Aren't you? The program in Bali wasn't very successful. So it's the past tense of the verb to be wasn't. You have to put it backwards, not backwards, the opposite. Was it? Because we're talking about a program, not about a person. I'm presenting my report at 2. So we have, I'm presenting my report at 2. In this case, we have the verb to be. Am I not? Sounds weird, but it is like this. There weren't a lot of people at the conference. Weren't there? So if you see, it works always like this. It's the opposite. You follow the same tense and you use the same subject, okay? In the sense of if it's a woman, you're gonna use she. If it's a man, you're gonna use he, etc. Okay? So let's go to lesson number 2. We're going to be speaking in the past perfect. I always try to say this to my students because I feel like it gives them a sense of location in the timeline. So in Spanish, the past perfect would be when we say, literally will be yo había hecho, yo había llegado, yo había ido. And when do we use this? Well, usually you're going to use it before something in the past. I'm going to put you an example because you're a Spanish speaker like me. La junta ya había terminado cuando tú llegaste. So, both of them. We have past perfect and we have past simple. La película ya había empezado cuando yo llegué. So, we have the past. But the past perfect happened before the past. So, it's something that happened before another event, basically, okay? This is how we actually use it. For example, yo ya había hecho la limpieza antes de que tú la hicieras, right? Something before somebody else did. So it's just an event that happened before another one and usually goes with the simple past, okay? So we're going to practice this, and we're going to check this. For example, you had here, the meeting ended at 11 and we arrived. The meeting had ended before we arrived. Here is the clearest example. La reunión ya había terminado cuando llegamos. So what happened first? ¿Qué pasó primero? The meeting ended and then we arrived. So you have before the past, you have the past perfect. Algo que pasó antes de otra acción. So some words that you're going to be using or seeing or listening when someone is speaking in this tense is, for example, by, que viene siendo en español como a las 11, como a las 12, como al mediodía. Already, you know that already means ya había terminado. The meeting had already ended. Y el yet es como aún no. Es algo que usamos más bien para la negación, ¿sí? It hadn't ended yet. No había terminado aún. Let's check some of these sentences. By 4 o'clock, the tour had begun. It means que como a las 4 en punto, el tour ya había empezado. They had already eaten when their friends called. ¿Ves? Ellos el ya es el already. Ya habían comido cuando sus amigos llegaron. Una acción antes de la otra. When the flight took off, the storm hadn't started yet. Está en negativo, ¿lo ves? En negativo. El vuelo despegó y la tormenta no había empezado aún. It's important to remember that you're going to use by at the beginning or before the time, before the time, by 4 o'clock, by noon, by night, by 10 o'clock, by 6:30. Y en cuanto al already y al yet, already y yet, generalmente el already va en medio, had already eaten, had already done, had already gone, had already been, no already had been, ¿no? Va como en medio entre el had y el verbo. Y después tienes el yet, finalmente va al final o en medio, ese sí puede cambiar. So if another important thing that I would like to remark is that as you can see, the past perfect has always the had. This is the auxiliary, had, or hadn't. Basically means había o no había, okay? And then after that, we have the verb in the past participle. So by now, it's important to know the verbs in the past participle. La tercera columna de verbos, ¿no? El pasado participio, porque son los verbos que va a ser terminado, jugado, ido, hecho, etc. So another thing that they are telling us here is that the past perfect was with the simple past tense or the past of be to clarify. We use it to clarify which of two past actions occurred first. O sea, es para estar realmente seguro qué pasó primero que otra cosa, ¿sí? So, you can use also the word before, after. Se va a usar muchísimo el antes y el después, ¿sí? Para decir, por ejemplo, yo ya había limpiado el coche antes de que dieran las 12. I had already cleaned the car before noon, ¿no? Before the clock said noon. Entonces, es para dar esta claridad. Tienes aquí más ejemplos, pero en general, I want you to keep this in mind, okay? So, usually you're going to use the past perfect statements to talk about things that happened before another event in the past. So, grammatically speaking, it's going to be past perfect and then a past simple. Okay, let's practice some of this. Let's go to this exercise B. We have some agenda here on the right, Monday, January 4th. So you have some activities here on the left. Let's try to complete the sentences according to this agenda. It says, at 8:30, Meg her laundry, but she the cat to her mom's house. So let's look for this. Dice her laundry. Drop off the laundry. Dejó la ropa para la lavandería. And what about cat to her mom's house? So what happened first? Obviously, the laundry. So we're going to use the past perfect here because this happened first. At 8:30, como esto lo hizo a las 8, si ves lo de que dice laundry, lo de la lavandería, lo hizo a las 8, aquí nos dice a las 8:30, o sea, ya lo había hecho a las 8:30. So, Meg had already dropped off is the past participle. Meg had already dropped her laundry, but she take the cat to mom's house was after, but she took the cat to her mom's cat. Ella llevó. Pero a esa hora, a las 8:30, no había llevado al gato a casa de su mamá. Entonces, no había es el yet, es la negación. She hadn't taken yet the cat to her mom's house. So it says, a las 8:30, de acuerdo a la agenda, puedes ver, ella ya había dejado la ropa en la lavandería, pero no había llevado el gato a casa de su mamá. Number 2, by 10:45, okay, the cat to her mom's house, ya lo había dejado a las 10:45, so we're gonna use had already took the cat. Taken, sorry, it's a past participle. The cat to her mom's house. By 10:45, she had already taken the cat to her mom's house, but what about the meeting? The meeting was until 11, so it was something that no había hecho, but she hadn't, no había, but she hadn't packed yet for the meeting. No había empacado aún para la reunión. By 12:15, como a las 12:15, the sales vendors at Office Solutions, but she lunched with Adam. Ella, pues a las 12 dice, pick up the sales vendors. Entonces, a las 12:15 ya había hecho esta actividad, ¿no? By 12:15, she had already, o sea, ya había recogido, she had already picked up the sales vendors at Office Solutions, but she hadn't, no había almorzado con Adam, porque eso lo hizo hasta la 1, como puedes ver, ¿ok? Estamos hablando de las 12:15, por eso algo ya había hecho y otra cosa no había hecho. So, she hadn't launched with, she hadn't had yet launched with Adam. Okay, at 1:30, a la 1:30, well, ya había almorzado con Adam. She had already had lunch with Adam, but ella no había regresado a la 1:30 a los DVDs. She hadn't returned the DVDs to FilmPix yet, or we can put the yet at the end as well. By 12:15, seguimos con las 2:15, perdón. By 2:15, a esa hora pues ya había regresado los DVDs. She had already, ya había. El había, recuerda que es el ya, perdón, es el already. She had already returned the DVDs to FilmPix, but she, pues a esa hora no había ido al dentista. El dentista era hasta las 4. She hadn't seen. Yet the dentist. At 5:55, a las 5:55, pues ya había visto al dentista. She had already seen the dentist, but what about the manicure? Well, the manicure was at 6. So at 5:55, pues todavía no había hecho el manicure. She hadn't gotten yet a manicure. Cuando yo hablo, la verdad es que yo uso el yet al final, ¿eh? También puedes hacerlo. She hadn't gotten a manicure yet. O sea, después. It depends on you. It's on you. So as you can see, already, el already lo usamos mucho para decir ya, y el yet cuando todavía no lo has hecho, como es como aún no. And all the sentences here in the past perfect are referring to actions that happened or didn't happen before another one. That's the difference. So in real life, when you learn past simple, it's about specific actions in the past that have a start and an ending point, ¿no? O sea, algo específico, algo en el pasado que tuvo un inicio y que tuvo un final, ¿ok? En cambio, el pasado perfecto en inglés se llama pasado perfecto. Es para hablar de situaciones que pasaron antes que otra o que no han pasado, pero siempre es antes que otra, ¿ok? So, to finish this lesson, this second lesson of the of Unit 1, we're about to finish, okay? We're about to finish. I want you to check this conversation with me, all right? So we have here this conversation. It says, so how was your day? ¿Cómo estuvo tu día? How was your day? Unbelievably busy. By 9, I had taken the placement test. Mira lo que ya había hecho. I had taken the placement test, registered for class, and bought my books. All this is what he did. That's a lot to do before 9. That was nothing. At 10, I had a meeting across town, but by 1, I had already arrived back at school for my class. What did you do about lunch? Well, I got to class. I hadn't eaten yet. No había comido todavía, so I just got a snack. Well, I'll bet you're pretty hungry now. Te están dando algunas expresiones que sí es importante conocer. Es para hablar de la intensidad, ¿no? Intensifiers, como que unbelievably busy. Estuve así como que increíblemente ocupada. Incredibly busy, incredibly stressed, incredibly happy, increíblemente. Really, creo que es una que es la con la que estamos tal vez más familiarizados, que es como decir muy, y también el so, ¿no? So busy, so tired, so happy, pretty happy. Pero aquí puedes ver con qué intensidad vas a usar cada una, ¿sí? So remember, this is the user you're going to give to the past perfect, okay? So we're still talking about manners and etiquette, about the do's and don'ts. So we're going to check some vocabulary that belongs to this unit, okay? So we have a few words here. It says etiquette, cultural literacy, table manners, punctuality, impolite, offensive, customary, and taboo. I think some of them, sorry, are quite obvious. For example, impolite, it's obviously to not be polite, to be rude. Offensive, well, obviously it's extremely rude. Customary, it means that it's common, that is usual, it's a tradition. And punctuality, well, obviously we know that it's about being on time. Table manners, it's everything that is related to your behavior when you're eating with other people. O sea, table manners pues son los modales en la mesa, ¿no? Cuando estás comiendo sobre todo con un grupo de personas. Tabú, esta palabra en español decimos tabú, but taboo, it's usually used to talk about things that are not allowed because certain cultural or religious rules. Esto pasa mucho tal vez en los países del este, en donde hay ciertas reglas o cosas que no son permitidas por sus creencias. It can happen also in our country, anywhere actually. So cultural literacy. Cultural literacy, it's having the knowledge or knowing about and respecting other people's cultures, okay? La cultura de los demás, conocerlas para respetarlas. Etiquette, well, etiquette, I think it's more about the rules to be polite, the behavior rules to follow, okay? So that you can be polite. Entonces, este es el vocabulario de esta unidad, ¿de acuerdo? To finish, we are going to do a reading, okay? I'm going to read this because I think it's important to practice pronunciation. You can also listen, and we're going to figure out some words, maybe vocabulary, okay? So let's finish this. Let's finish this unit 1 with this reading. It says, today global culture is interviewing Eugenia Hartley of Jackson, Mississippi in the US about changes to culture. Miss Hartley, culture has changed a bit since you were growing up in the 40s, hasn't it? So she grew up in the 40s. Can you imagine? So she says, definitely, maybe more so for me than for others because Jackson is in the South, which was pretty socially conservative when I was a younger. So they are asking her the next. Please tell us about some of the changes you have personally experienced. My heavens es una expresión como, ay Dios, my heavens. Well, the new South is so different from the old South in a lot of good ways, as everyone knows. But since you ask me personally, it would probably be dating costumes, the way young people talk to their elders, table manners. Recuerda que elders es una palabra muy formal para decir, en vez de decir old people, ¿no? Para gente vieja, elders son las personas mayores, elders. Okay, how have those things changed? ¿Cómo han cambiado esas cosas? Well, for example, when I was growing up, the family dinner hour was the one time in the day when the family sat down together and it was a special time. Today, that's changed. In many families, there's no dinner hour. Kids eat snacks or fast food all day. Moms are out in the workforce and don't have time to make a proper meal. Workforce, pues es el área de trabajo. A proper meal, no tienen tiempo de hacer pues un almuerzo, una comida tal vez porque están trabajando. And there are so many activities that it seems like no one has time. Esta expresión está como que al revés para nosotros. Hay muchas actividades que parecen que, para las que parece que ya nadie tiene tiempo. In my day, children were more respectful and quiet at the table. En mi época, los niños eran más callados, más tranquilos en la mesa, más respetuosos. We spoke when we were spoken to. Dice, hablábamos cuando nos pedían hablar. Si no, no. We didn't put our elbows on the table and we dressed nicely. O sea, tenías que estar presentable para la cena familiar. No one came to the dinner table in shorts or jeans the way they do today. Era muy formal, ¿no? Then they asked her, that is different, isn't it? You mentioned dating. How has that changed? Están hablando de las citas. ¿Cómo han cambiado eso? Y aquí ves de dónde es ella, del sur. The East South. Well, today I see boys and girls on dates at the mall. They can't be more than 12 or 13 years old. I wasn't allowed to go out on a proper day until I was 16. And when I finally was allowed today, my parents didn't let me go out with a boy they hadn't already met. Mira, aquí tienes el ejemplo de lo que acabamos de decir. Tienes el pasado perfecto de hadn't already met, que no habían conocido. Y esto pasó antes de... ¿Mm? My parents didn't let me, no me dejaron salir con alguien que no habían conocido de antes, right? Okay, let's continue. And I had a definite curfew. ¿Qué es curfew? En México es algo que todavía se dice, yo creo. Es como el chaperón, ¿no? A curfew. No es chaperón, perdón. A curfew es, es tu hora límite, o sea, te daban una hora de entrada y tenías que estar allá. Un horario, ¿no? It was a little different from for my brother though, I guess. Um, oh, sorry. And I had a definite curfew, es la hora de llegada. I had to be home by 11. If I came in late, I was grounded. Estaba castigada. For at least a month, por al menos un mes. It was a little different for my brother, though. I guess there was a bit of a double standard. Y tiene razón, ¿no? Había una doble estándar por ahí. Al hombre le daban más chance. He could go out on dates when he was 16, but his curfew wasn't as strict as mine. He was allowed to stay out until midnight. Le dejaban hasta medianoche a su hermano. So, and you mentioned the way young people addressed their elders, a los mayores, se dirige a los mayores. How has that changed? Well, today you are here teens, even children calling adults by their first names. We had to address adults as sir or ma'am. Esta es una palabra que no habíamos mencionado antes, pero dicen mucho ma'am como señora. En vez de decir Mr. o Mrs. con el apellido, puedes decir simplemente ma'am y ma'am sí es formal, sí es amable. And we always used to Mr. and Mrs. I suppose that sounds a little too old-fashioned today, doesn't it? Maybe so. Thank you so much, Miss Hartley, for an interesting interview. Esta palabrita también es vocabulario, a little old-fashioned. Old-fashioned, como obviamente lo es, significa que ya no se usa, que está pasado de moda. Y no se refiere solo a la ropa, puede ser a costumbres y tradiciones, ¿ok? So thank you so much for being here with us and finishing the first unit of the B1 plus level, the English language. So we're going to continue. See you in unit 1. I hope you have learned. Remember that the small talk is to be polite, is to make conversation about simple and nice things. Remember that you have to ask people how you should address them. And this is for real. It really helps when you are outside of your country. And also remember that the tag questions, it's to confirm information. You understood the subject, didn't you? And finally, the past perfect is going to be used to talk about things in the past, but that happened or it didn't happen before other events. So I'll see you in unit 2. Bye. Have a great day.